So basically, here they are.
There they are. Wow.
Like I said, not expecting it. Kind of showed up. I didn't expect it. Like I said, I actually thought they were fake.
Welcome to another episode of the SoleSavy podcast. My name is Marco Henry Negrete, and today I am joined by MLS player for the Houston Dynamo and the Puerto Rican national team, Zarek Valentin. Zarek, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
Zarek is also a member of SoleSavy, so this is a fun one for us to talk to somebody who's super embedded into the sneaker community. Everyone has a sneaker origin story, especially athletes like yourself, oftentimes tied to the sport they play. But what was that first time that you can remember where sneakers or footwear in general, whether it was soccer boots or sneakers, really made a impact on you and you started seeing them as more than just a tool for athletic performance?
Soccer cleats, I could go back for as long as I've been playing. You watch some of the Diogo Benito commercials back in the day when they had Ronaldo and these guys, wearing the boots, and you wanted to be like them, but I was never an attacker. So they got to wear all the fun shoes. But regardless, when it comes to sneakers, I always wanted to be like my brother, and he kept it pretty simple and wore Converse. He wore Chucks, high tops, had like 20 pairs, also, just the rainbow. And I tried to emulate that. So I went to college and I used to use my scholarship check to buy $50 Converse at Journeys, right? So I had a little bit of a collection. And then upon signing in the league, I had to sign with Adidas. That was just the rule about everything. And, I always was into sneakers, always had a bunch. I still collected Dunks when I was an Adidas athlete. At this point, I'm a Nike guy, so it's all good. But my first memory, and I actually have it here, 72 and 10, 11. My sister wanted them actually. And I was like, why not? Like, I have a little bit of allotment. I got myself a pair. And upon receiving them, this is what got, put the snowball down and got everything rolling. I picked up this shoe, and obviously it's a leather upper, right? And usually they're mesh and stuff like that. And for me, it just kickstarted this I don't like to use the word obsession, but just this intrigue about the craftsmanship, more than just wearing it, but just it's a beautiful shoe. It's an absolutely beautiful shoe. And for me, it immediately kicked that. It just started, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah. And shifting gears to the boots you have next to you, educate me a little bit. I grew up playing basketball, and there's those really iconic basketball shoes that you see people playing and you want to play. What were those boots for you as you were coming up in your career when you were a kid? Soccer boots. I know Nike dominates the pitch with a lot of their innovation. Are there a few models that maybe someone who didn't grow up playing soccer the same way you did, where those were just the icon status boots?
Of course. And I think everyone looks at the Copa, the Adidas shoe that's black upper, 3 stripes, pretty flat bottom. The Copa is kind of the be all end all. People still wear it. It's still comfortable. The leather's still much better. So the Copa is not produced because obviously Adidas wants the players to wear the new stuff. So for that was pretty much it. There was the Puma King, which is another one that was big back in the day. These are just really leather shoes with studs, right? Nowadays the technology is crazy, but back in the day they used to be really heavy, and God forbid if it rained, you probably, imagine playing soccer in something like this. It'd be extremely hard. So for Nike, it was one of the biggest iconic silhouette was the Vapor. And that actually, I have a newer version, but it's actually similar to this in a bunch of different colorways. And the Ronaldo, the fat one they say, but he was also probably one of the better ones who really made the boots famous. He wore them in the 2002 World Cup. That boot still holds its weight in terms of the significance for the sport, the style, right? Because soccer is a sport that really there's individuality and there's the style on and off the pitch. And that shoe, it was silver. I don't have the exact model, but it was this, this incredible silver. And then basically, when he banged in goals in the World Cup, it really stood out. And then, it has its place forever in history.
What are some of the boots that are your kind of go-tos right now? I know that you switch it up a lot. Is it an every game thing, or do you kind of have that standard pair that you wear and then you switch it up for special occasions?
Yeah, the funny thing is, and people don't understand this about soccer, but an in-depth piece about it is you see NBA players wearing Kobe's, wearing Jordans, right? Wearing Dame's shoe, they're wearing Harden's shoe and KD's. Soccer, that's a faux pas. Ronaldo has his own colorway of the Vapor, but you're viewed as kind of like a poser if you wear Ronaldo's cleat. Nobody wears Messi's cleat. Only Messi wears it because no one touches it. So it's interesting how in NBA it's so normal. You know what I mean? You see guys wearing KDs, and Jordan always talked about the mental edge when he saw someone wearing his shoes. He's like, well, I'm going to dominate this person. But in soccer, that's not the case. So that's why you see the majority of people wearing the same colorway. So for example, this is the boot that I'm still training in right now. I think a new colorway is going to be coming out in kind of this turquoise color. But for me, I was lucky enough to be a Nike athlete in Portland. And I'm sure you know all the benefits to that, right? So I actually got into the kitchen, which is kind of the innovation lab where they create a lot of new things. And I got my foot 3D scanned. And basically that allowed me to then figure out which boot fits with my with like the shape of my foot best, right? And Nike has 3 different models. And as much as this is definitely not a defender's boot, I've found out that this is the shoe that fits my foot the best. And I'd love to switch it up, and it's fun to have new colorways and stuff like that. But ultimately comfort wins, right? Because if you're going to be running around in the Houston heat for 90 minutes, you want to be comfortable. So for me, the Mercurial, which stems from the Vapor I spoke about previously, this is the 10th generation or something like that, 9th generation, but this is the one that I'm currently wearing a lot. You
mentioned Portland. That's when you and I first connected. Walk me through that. You grow up a sneakerhead, you're playing pro soccer, and you end up, of all cities, in Portland, Oregon, kind of the hometown of Nike, of Adidas, and then a few other footwear brands have centers there now, like Under Armour. What was that like, man? You mentioned being able to go to the kitchen, but like, how cool was it to be a Nike athlete in a city like Portland?
I mean, you can't beat it. I feel extremely blessed that I had the opportunity to just show up on campus and make connections and meet people. And you know, we speak about going to the kitchen pretty casually, but I know that for the average Nike employee, it's very locked down, right? You know what I mean? You have to sign an NDA when you go in there, and you see all the different things, and it's really cool to kind of go and meet people that work there. And like I said, I feel really lucky that I had that opportunity and made some good friends and have continued my relationship with the brand. And it's one of these things where I love the continuing evolution of pushing the boundary, and whether that's with footwear, whether that's with cleats, you know, being able to product test out there was really cool. That you don't have access to that kind of stuff when you're in Houston or when you're in Los Angeles. So for me, it was really incredible to see, but also I found it really interesting the way the brands would fight over players for the Portland Timbers. And this is a little insight. It's constantly a battle between Adidas and Nike to have as many guys on the field for the Portland Timbers at one time. So normally it's, you know, Nike's very selective about the contracts they give out because they want to have national team players and different, right? Adidas, everybody gets Adidas boots, whether they're sponsored or not. But in Portland, they were very picky about trying to get as many starters as possible. And there's 11 players on the field. So obviously one brand is going to have the one up, right? Yeah. So that's why at times you'd see and you'd look down and, you know, Nike's having a better day. Maybe a few subs come in and it's different. And it's fun to see that, but it's, you know, that friendly competition constantly is pushing things further and further.
People are starting to pay a lot more attention to sneakers. It's really exciting time, right? Everybody's almost into sneakers. It's kind of mandatory if you're playing in this space. How have you seen the MLS and football as a whole really start to embrace sneaker culture? Yeah. I know sneakers have always been an important part of it, but have you noticed a shift in the last few years as it's become more mainstream?
Oh, definitely. Soccer has always been typically a luxury brand sport. I'd say that the style probably started with the Brazilians back in the day. It's kind of their flair for the way they used to play, and they used to dress a certain way. They still sell Nike Shocks in Brazil because they still rock them hard. And I think Beckham was one of the icons for that, right? You know, really pushing it in a lot of different ways. People always constantly critiquing what he's wearing, what designer, right? And a lot of it was always high-end fashion. And that's still, when I was playing overseas, that's still king for a lot of it. You know, guys making sure you have your $600, $700, $800 YSL, Louboutin, LV stuff. Like that's still viewed as like the kind of the standard in terms of soccer, but you're seeing definitely a switch. And I think the PSG Jordan collab really, you know, started kickstarting that a bit, right? To just kind of say like, you know, you can also have style, but have it be more like streetwear style as opposed to, you know, spending $400 on a cardigan from Gucci, right? Or something like that. You know, that's always going to be there, but now you're seeing this crossover, and now it's cool to have a pair of off-white shoes as opposed to, again, having a $400 pair of Prada shoes. But that, I think that side of things will always be there. It's just interesting to kind of see it. And now, especially in the States, you see a lot of big time players embracing soccer. You see Luka doing it, Joel Embiid juggling the ball. You got Giannis doing it, right? And that crossover is kind of started. And I think that the Neymar had another Jordan collab, right? And that was very influential in terms of just kind of setting up that market. And it's one of these things where now it's huge. And now walk-ins in MLS is a thing. Have you checked out recently? The one is Greg Berhalter for the full men's national team. He's constantly wearing Heat. He wore Travis Scott 6s for the Nations League final game. The previous game they played abroad, he had the Mocha 1s. And you keep going, and there's one other coach in Philly, the Jim Curtin, who's worn like Yeezys on sidelines. He's worn like low top, like dunks. Like there's two coaches that are now knowing it's a thing. And Greg always, every national team game, it's becoming a thing. And it's fantastic because you see him and he's got like his khakis on. He's got his quarter zip and he looks professional. Then he's got some flames on there and he's kicking a ball, running around and stuff. So it's definitely, if you have coaches doing it, then there's definitely a movement within MLS and just kind of within, US soccer.
Who are the biggest sneakerheads in the MLS?
Myself is definitely up there. One of my buddies, Eric Williamson in Portland, he's got a very solid collection. I know Kellen Acosta in Colorado has a solid collection. There's some of these guys that, the big time DPs that have deep pockets that they can not worry about it. Luis Mabiala, who my teammate in Portland, got all the Yeezy 2s. He has every like 350, I think, under the sun. He has, the whole like rainbow thing. I bet you he's got all that. So there's definitely, I'm probably forgetting guys. Sorry to everyone I forget. I'm going to get crushed in the group chat after this, but it's just interesting to kind of just see how that's, becoming a little thing. And like each player is feeling different shoes, right? And you also don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't want to have you don't want to wear the same shoes as somebody on the same day. So then it kind of pushes you to maybe go outside the box a little bit, which is always really fun.
We just launched a series called Kicking It, where two people from our team, Luis Torres and Juan Hernandez, are doing a deep dive into kind of the influence and the crossover between fashion and soccer throughout time. As you look back, either MLS or internationally, was there a kit or a boot that just had you mesmerized as a young kid, saying like, wow, that's style, right? It's a uniform, but that's an impressive style.
Yeah, I think again it goes back to that singular, the Vapor. I wish I had a picture of it. It's just a metallic silver boot. Yeah. With the neon swoosh, and it was so simple, but it really had never been worn before because it was always black or white. And you're black if you're a defender, you wore black cleats. That's it. If you wore white cleats, you better be a baller. So then when Nike basically came out for the 2002 World Cup and like had a silver boot, it was like, whoa. And it was obviously it wasn't leather. It was probably some polyurethane or something like that, right? So it just completely went out there, and everyone was mesmerized. Obviously, Ronaldo was the best player in the world at the time. He won the best player in the World Cup, all these different things, scored goals in the final. But that was definitely one of them, along with the Total 90 boot that Wayne Rooney used to wear, white on the outside with red in the middle. And just thinking when they started really adapting to colors, it started it immediately caught everyone's eye because it used to be white and black. And now, for example, everyone always goes like, why is color this? Why is it a volt? And I actually spoke to some people at Nike, and the reason is they want to be able to have someone sit in the top row and look down and see exactly what shoe Marco's wearing. If he's wearing a black shoe, they have no idea. But if you score a hat trick and you're wearing this color shoe, Nike wears this shoe, so they will know you're wearing a Vapor. And basically, eventually that kind of switched the strategy about being low key and being comfortable to now, as a defender, I get sent pink boots and you're contractually obligated to wear them. That's great. I'll adapt a little bit, but it's just interesting. The concept and the thought process has changed. Now they want people to know exactly what you're wearing any given moment.
You ended up in a lot of headlines last year when you showed up, I believe, to a game or to a team event with the MCA Air Force Ones with the black outsole or the black midsole. Let's talk about that. Like, did you expect to have that type of reaction?
Shoes are made to be worn. Yep. There's no shoe I have in my closet that I have not worn. So basically, here they are.
There they are. Wow.
Like I said, not expecting it. Kind of showed up. I didn't expect it. Like I said, I actually thought they were fake. And I was looking at my wife, and I sent one picture to my buddy, and he was like, what the hell are those? And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm pretty sure these are fake shoe. And then the interesting part was we kind of thought about it, and you hadn't seen a shoe with this lacing over it, right? You hadn't seen that over an Air Force One before. And actually you haven't even seen it even on the Dunks yet. So then we started thinking, well, how could somebody make a fake shoe on a design that's never been done before, unless they're just completely making it up?
Yeah.
And then I hadn't worn them, and I was just like, I think I wore them maybe once. And then Paris Fashion Week thing showed up, and Virgil had them on, and I was like, holy shit.
So you already had them in your possession when during fashion.
I had them, like I said.
So you had them for a while then. I thought you got them around the time that you wore them.
No, I had, like I said, I'm telling you, it was like they should not have showed up, and maybe I thought someone honestly had put a pair of I thought it was a fake pair of shoes. They're worn. Like you can see the foam around the edge, like a lot of the MCA shoes, is worn. Like it's ripped, because I love these shoes, like the quality, the leather and these things. And I was like, man, this is like a really good looking fake. And then lo and behold, it just, like I said, it kind of blew up after that. And I don't know, if Virgil hears this, I appreciate him for letting me keep the shoe. I'll wear them into the ground, because that's what shoes are supposed to be. Shoes are supposed to be handled.
Have there been a few other moments that you can remember where you got a package from Nike, opened it up, and were just like eyes lit up? I can't believe they sent me these, or you were just shocked?
Yeah. The other one that was wild was one of my going away presents from Nike was the Friends and Family Soulfly ones, the patent leather ones. And then the only comment that was with them was, you need a little bit of orange in your life now, because I was going to Houston.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's a little bit of orange on the swoosh. So for me, that was one where I remember I got the box, and I opened the box, and I just saw that shiny patent leather, and I was like, there's literally only one shoe. Or well, there was two. I got married in these shoes. And then I was like, there's literally only one shoe. And then like you see like the stitching on the inside, and I was like, holy bejeebies. And then you're just sitting there, and then and I was like, you start asking how, and it's like, you just, thank you, you're welcome. And I will be sure to wear them, as I always do, wear them into the ground, crease up that patent leather as best as possible, because you got to enjoy your shoes while you have them. You know that.
It seems more common now, but a few years ago, you were one of the first players that I can remember hearing about that was really sending messages when it came to equality, social justice on your boots.
Definitely more recently. And I think it's become with the growth and power of social media. And I think everyone can attest to how now people are taking notice what's on people's feet and what shirts you wear for a walk-in, right? One of the shirts I put was "End Gun Violence."
Yep.
Again, very specific statement, because it's gun violence. Obviously, we have a Second Amendment argument all you want. But like for me, it's just stuff like that, or, being very, trying to be the biggest ally I can for the LGBTQ plus community, and just using my platform for good. I believe that as an athlete, we're given a platform, whether we like it or not, and we have to use it for good. So thankfully, I've been surrounded by a lot of cool people that have helped me contribute some of my, to some of my charitable things that I've wanted, and some of them might have been way outlandish, but I still have had some amazing people surrounding me to help me try to, raise money for people during Thanksgiving or during the power outage, or whatever it might be. And I just am very lucky that Nike's always been there to help me whenever I need anything like that as well. And it recently started because people started taking pictures of shoes, right? And suddenly you write something on it. And, I have actually all these shoes are embroidered, but for example, you asked me for a few ones that were meaningful. I wore this shoe in the final in 2018 for Portland and Atlanta, which was really cool. This was the first ever boot I had my wife's name embroidered on, Liz. And then sadly, another one was one of the guys who is the PLM, for the product line manager for this boot, sadly passed away last year. And when I left, part of his going away gift was with these boots. And basically, I promised him that I would wear them my next game in Portland. And I did, and we didn't get a good result, but I wrote "R.I.P. Pickett" on there. We miss you and we love you, mate. For me, when you write something on your shoe and you're playing for that purpose, especially in that day, it gives you that little bit extra you might need to track back, to make a tackle, to head a ball, to get a clearance. And again, I try to use my platform for as good as possible, and that's something I try to take a lot of pride in.
We're at a point where sneaker culture has grown bigger than it's ever been. The industry has ballooned. pros and cons obviously that come along with that, and a lot of people have lost sight of what made this thing special to begin with, and that's the people, that's the moments, that's the memories, right? Not necessarily the shoes. And at SoleSavy, that's kind of our goal, is to restore the people part of sneaker culture, instead of how much are those worth or how rare are those. So my question for you is how do you define what sneaker culture truly means to you? Like, what is it that makes this community special to you?
I joined SoleSavy earlier this year. We spoke about it. I think the discussion posts are always my favorites, because you see people passionate about something they love, and they love it because it's just ingrained in them. And that, for me, that's the best part about it. You asked me to bring in 3 pairs of shoes. This is the Goldenrod from '99.
Yeah.
These re-released, they're sitting under $200, and it's my favorite shoe. And I have another pair. I might buy another one, and that's amazing, right? And I like it because of the colorways. I'm a huge Wu-Tang fan. So for me, my grail is the Wu-Tang Dunk. I might even just spray paint a little Wu-Tang symbol because I can't have it. So for me, like, it's hard to describe why I love this shoe. It's the colorway. It's the fact that it reminds me of like growing up with music and everything like that. And you can't put a value on that. Another one of my favorite pairs of shoes is the Bacons that re-released. I have the OG ones, and they literally fell apart. I was walking to the post office, and this went whomp, and it cracked. And like, I was devastated. And then they were supposed to re-release, stopped. So the fact that they did, and these, I kid you not, I'm gonna buy a pair right now. And my point was, if you think they're cool, then they're cool. That's what's been the most fun about it. So for me, the community is just enjoying what you like, and then having others embrace the culture and the diversity within that, right? Volt Wednesdays, is that what I saw on?
Yeah, the Volt Tuesday campaign.
Volt Tuesday, like, that's so cool, because guess what? Volt Tuesday, that shoe wasn't crazy, whatever, but to our community, that's something meaningful, and like, it made me want to get a pair. Just because of that reason, right? And that's what it's all about. It's not about price tags or making money or making a profit. It's about going out there and sharing your love for something and embracing the fact that they might like something you don't.